There was a lot of good stuff we just covered right there. Like, we're gonna have to do the whole chicken talk again.
We're never going to remember all that.
All right, talking about chickens.
We're
Okay,
not going to
so
talk about chickens.
What's up, Hero Stock Nation?
Alaska's Healing Hearts is an organization dedicated to the outreach and support of our battle-wounded and battle-weary service members and their families. What we try to do is to bring a little bit of Alaska to each service member. Whether it is fishing, whether it's hunting, any type of outdoor recreation and activity, or just to make a friend, Alaska Healing Hearts is here to serve those who serve. The very cornerstone of Alaska's Healing Hearts is friendship, it's camaraderie, it's family. Alaska's Healing Hearts truly does care. Our mission is to bring about change. We want to see smiling faces. We're looking for resources, volunteers, and even financial assistance to help us grow to our fullest potential and to reach the maximum number of warriors and their families in need. The need is great. The time is now. So reach out with us by visiting our website, alaskashealinghearts.com, and get involved today.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Roundtable, where heroes talk. I'm Tom Lamog, and my co-host Matthew Jones. It's good to see you, Matt. What's new, my friend?
oh, what's new? I mean, you'll notice behind me, I'm in an old space. I got some new flair though. I got some lights going on.
Fancy.
It's only temporary. We're gonna get the studio back here soon.
I don't hear any music though. What's going on with that?
Well, I mean, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. It's a work in progress. So,
yeah. Hey, I
how are you
noticed that
doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. I am happy to say that we've got a whole bunch of new guests that are lined up, for future episodes of the Roundtable. I think I may even have a couple of guests for our musical special, our Song Sung True Veterans View. So, they seem to be, now that the new year is here and we're in full swing, I think they're all coming out of the woodwork. And I have to tell you, I am really looking forward to our conversation today. Most of the people that we interview have been in the Nebraska area, or the neighboring states. But this time, we're going to jump outside of the 48 and we're going to head up north. And I'm looking forward to that conversation for sure. First of all, let me talk a little bit about Hero Stock and the relationship that we have with our guests. Hero Stock, of course, is a 501c3. It's a nonprofit dedicated to supporting veterans, first responders, and Gold Star families. We honor those who serve by raising awareness, building community, connecting heroes to meaningful resources through impactful events. Since 2022, Hero Stock has welcomed thousands of heroes and their families, partnered with over 100 plus nonprofit organizations, and has showcased dozens of hero bands and artists, creating a powerful space for healing, connection, and belonging. We're one of many organizations across America that provide this kind of support. So let's introduce you to another. Today's conversation takes us north to a place as beautiful as it is unforgiving, Alaska. And we're honored to be joined by James Hastings, founder of Alaska's Healing Hearts, an organization dedicated to helping veterans and others navigate trauma, grief, and life transitions through connection, community, and healing experiences. May I introduce you to our guest, James Hastings. James, hey man. Hey, it's finally great to meet you. We've been kind of like sending messages back and forth over the last several weeks.
We have.
And although it's nice to chat with you on, through text messages, it's always great to see you as well too. Welcome to the program.
Oh man, it's so awesome to be here. So cool. I, I live in my own little bubble, my own little world. So I don't watch a lot of podcasts. I've blown my Facebook down to literally using it as a tool because I just got tired of the news and the junk. And what happens is junk in, junk out. I'm not smart enough to manage all that, so I had to just sort of clear myself out away from everything. So I've been what most Alaskans do. We're here because we don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So we're here doing our own
I think
thing.
they can say the same in Hawaii too. I've heard that from my cousins and all. It's like, well, I don't know what you people are doing on the mainland, but man, that's awesome. I totally am there with you. I'm here in California.
It's been neat learning more about it, learning about the programs and the things that you're involved in, and I know we referred earlier with Devin. I've known Devin. I'm going to make the joke here, and if it hurts anybody's feelings, just freaking get over it. I've known Devin for about almost 100 pounds.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
whoa!
Does that tell you
I
anything,
got you,
brother?
bro. I got you. Yeah.
You've seen the photos. Yeah.
I've known Devin when Devin was at his absolute bottom. What a success story that music has been for him. I mean, this poor guy he's been through enough for 10 people to have shared and still have pain. And to see him come from the challenges he was facing emotionally, emotions had affected his physical well-being. It affected his marriage, his relationship with his child. Everything was just horrible. And he came to one of our events and he had a guitar and he said, Can I play? I said, is that a request for permission or are you asking me? You want me to listen? He's like, no, do you care if I break my guitar out? Because part of our thing is a warrior circle. And that's why I love the round table. You always want a visual, in my mind, you think of the round table, the Knights of the Round Table,
Yeah.
mission, purpose, focus, serving others.
We envisioned that too originally, Matt, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, I tell you, man, I'd walk you through the whole imagery, but we only have like about an hour.
But you want that though. You want something that's going to evoke a mental image immediately when people see it. If we have our warriors circle, we have the warrior circle, and it could be. Oh man, I remember one time I had some tough customers out, but we had um, oh man, we had two kahunas. We had a shaman from one of the local native groups was here. We had a faith healer, like crystals and hippy dippy stuff, which everyone's thinking, nah. Whatever works, man. Reiki, it doesn't matter. If it works, it works.
Yeah.
And then we had a Baptist minister. We're all in a part of this group. In fact, it was the video that you watched from 2013. I get him outside, and one of the guys he's like, man, he said, I go through resiliency every time I come home. I'm sick of this crap. And I said, well, here's the thing. The shaman would like to bless us. We're going to go on a bear hunt. So all the influencers, the wives, the girlfriends, the husbands, the boyfriends, all the folks who were a part of these warriors' lives, we had 6 warriors, but there were 40 something people there to support them, to send them off. We go out in the yard and we all hold hands. And 2 hours later, we finally broke because we started, the shaman blessed us, with the eagle feathers and the sage and the prayer for the land and the animals and the spirit. And then you said something that you're thankful for. And it made the circle. Well, by the time it comes around, you think of something else. So he said, if anyone has anything else, let's go again. We, for 2 straight hours, found things to be thankful for. I could have broke camp at that point. We never went hunting and we would have made a difference. So that imagery is there. So when you said round table, man, I'm like, oh, man, I get this. I dig this.
Come on down. Tell us your
I'm a
story.
slow kid. I got to have pictures, man. So this helps me.
Hey, you're doing just fine, my friend.
But again, that imagery and that whole thing helped. And I'm going to get lost so many times on here because I get so involved in the moment and what's going on, I'll forget where I was heading somewhere. So you keep me on track. You're the professionals.
Oh my goodness. No, I've actually, here's what's funny, because you just
Yeah.
mentioned the 2013 video. There was a video that it was released by Senator Lisa Murkowski, your senator up there in Alaska, and it was an interview with you. And it was 2013, and it was one of the videos that I watched just to get a sense of who you were. And I thought, this man has learned some lessons. He has a real sense of direction of where you're at, what the need is that exists to put you on this path towards what you would soon build as your organization. I was really impressed by you. Can you talk a little bit about that? About that, because you were telling me that that's
So
one of your early interviews with a senator.
it,
No,
it really was. That video that you opened up with here too, that was one of the very first marketing type things that we ever did. I wasn't sure how that was going to go. Since then I've got to do a lot of, I get to do a lot of radio and TV and stuff. And we do like every once in a while we'll go through cycles and I'll do like a weekly radio show with local stations to outreach veteran news information. But um, one thing that struck me about that video, the term in there, the need is real, the time is now. The sad part of all that, no matter how much we've evolved, it hasn't changed.
mhm.
The
Yeah.
need the
Weird,
need
isn't
is
it?
equal or greater, and the
Mhm,
time comes up every day. And we're still looking at 22, 23 a day that we're losing, man.
mhm.
Could you imagine if there weren't so many people out here trying to make inroads, how distraught this world would be? If there weren't so many, literally thousands, tens of thousands of organizations, guys like ours, small groups, large groups, make the big money, high paying $1 million operations down to the guys who are like, scrimping $10 a piece out of our pocket to buy, hot dogs to feed the guys. If it weren't for all the wonderful people out here that are trying to serve others, that number would be double easily, because sometimes you just got to let people know you care. I can't give you anything. I got nothing for you, but I care. If you need me, you can call me.
Yeah.
That sometimes that's enough. Now remember, Devin broke out the guitar and he started playing. He wasn't very good, knew like three chords, but he was playing them and he'd play them over and over again. And he would play different songs that sounded exactly the same, different words, but he was trying. And I could see there was that mixture of joy and pain in him. When you watch a
Yeah.
singer and their eyes are closed, you wonder where they are. Well, when I watched Devin the first time, I knew where he was. I knew
Yeah.
exactly. He was right back in an unhappy place, but the music was giving him a window, but he wasn't going to the right place with that window. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was getting beamed to a place that he felt like he belonged because it had just been it had been the most profound thing he'd ever done in his life. And it was important that time and opportunity presented to him, number one, keep him alive. Number two, give him a reason to be alive. And number three, help him find something that's bigger than the biggest thing he's ever done. Because the biggest thing he'd ever done was horrible stuff, because that was the job. And it was killing him. It had killed him emotionally. Once he was able to really stabilize himself and then stabilize his family and provide an opportunity to grow beyond that, he had now done something bigger than himself. He had created that family that he had been missing. And therein, I think, lies the success. And music was that conduit. But like minded warriors who didn't judge, didn't compare, didn't say, well, I had it rougher, or you had it, or there was no comparison. We don't have a dick measuring contest. I will not allow that. I absolutely do not allow the Warriors to sit around and talk. We talk a lot of trash, a lot of smack, because that's how you know you got a team. If people are teasing
Yeah.
each other and talking shit, that's the team. If you're
Yeah.
busting out the Navy, the Air Force, Marines, Army, if you're all just making jokes, then that's teamwork. But if you're saying, "Oh, well, you were a truck driver," I
Yeah.
was this.
Nah.
I don't allow that stuff, and so I don't usually promote a lot of war talk. But I promote a lot of humor, a lot of places. Man, you think we were talking about Alaska, we're talking about Hawaii, we talked about Nebraska, um, images. And I hear Nebraska, I smell corn. For God's sakes, man. So you
There's a
get to talking
difference.
about
There's a
your
difference between
hometown.
noise, right? I
Yeah,
think what it comes down to is that whatever comes out, if it's just noise, you'll know. Versus, you know what, this is really helping. This is what we're talking about right now. What we're communicating back and forth to each other is relatable, it's
yeah.
personal, and it's of value. Versus, no, sorry, that no. Yeah, but that's a good point. As you're talking about Devin, hi Devin.
What's up,
By the
bud?
way,
He's watching. You know he's watching.
this
Sorry, I called you fat, bro,
songwriter,
but you
the
know, you and I
award-winning
were both fat back
songwriter.
then.
But he's I will say this. He did call you out by name. He thanked you among others.
I
Just
hope so. I hope you think
saying
there's a lot
today.
of people.
Yeah, but there's obviously there was a connection between the two of you. And was this something in your mind that you had to kind of get to this point in your life where you had to teach yourself how to recognize that and how to address it? I mean, obviously, from what you're doing today, the things that you do today in terms of leadership, communications, these are things that are all learned skills, are they not? From way back when you first started, are these things that you have actively worked on?
The beauty, I think the beauty of the Army, the military in general, but from my experience in the Army, um, being raised and led by great men, by great leaders. I come from a military background family. I was raised by great men, by warriors. To me, the term warrior, I like to kind of ascribe to there's a guy. Yeah, his name is DJ Eagle Bear Vanis, and I'm going to butcher the quote I always have, but it's a warrior's size, a warrior's strength is not measured by his size or his feats in battle. It's measured by the character of the people that he serves, the condition, the character. So are you the biggest, toughest guy on the battlefield? That's cool, that's great, but that doesn't mean that you're. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it for the accolades? Or are you doing it for those who can't do it for themselves? So you look at the tribe. Is the tribe solid? Is it healthy? Is it safe? Is it sound? Are they doing the right things? Are they caring for each other? Are they growing better? To me, that's what leadership is. Leadership is just providing the direction, the motivation, the tools, and the guidance to let people grow and succeed, and then get the hell out of the way before you screw it up. Um, I learned that very solidly growing up. I learned it even more in the Army, the value of it. And since then, I've never had a day pass that I don't apply something that I learned as a non-commissioned officer, something that I learned as the grandson of a Navy diver and the son of a Vietnam veteran. Um, but we're all a product of that. You probably take the sergeant major of the Army or the sergeant major of the Marine Corps. They are the culmination of decades and centuries of leadership. Arlie Ermy, remember Arlie Ermy, Full Metal Jacket?
Yep.
Amazing drill sergeant. He learned that from his drill sergeants, who probably learned it from their drill sergeants, who probably learned that from some centurion somewhere. You know,
I
so
tell you what,
we're all product.
Watching Full Metal Jacket, it does take me back to like basic training, where it's like
Yeah,
basic training was the funniest place you weren't allowed to laugh. you
yeah.
know,
It's the most painful comedy show in the world if you're if you're smart. Have you seen what's it? Remember The Last Samurai?
yeah.
Remember Tom Cruise? You remember what's his name? Man, the Scottish. He was the first. Or he was a trainer.
Oh, I
Um,
don't know.
he's a great comedian, musician, but the same thing. It was portrayed there, and here's this Civil War first sergeant yelling, "I will personally shit kick every one of your tiny asses," and you're like, "Oh man," takes me back. So again, that's part of our makeup. All three of us are made up. We're the current acting sum of who's led us to this point, and I pray to God that each of us has imparted some of that onto to those who followed us to move forward. So you got to building up. Building up it's self-explanatory. Building up or tearing down. What are you going to do? You're going to build. You're going to break.
Yeah, it's striving for something better. If that's what people are into. But I know I agree with you. It's kind of like, you know what? Things don't end at a certain point. You live and you keep learning, and that's something has inspired me to keep going. And just hearing stories that you're sharing inspires me to keep asking you more questions, and I've got a whole bunch of them too. Let me ask you: would you like to talk a little bit about some of the skills that you've acquired through your military service and how you're applying them today? Maybe you can kind of summarize some of the key moments in your career. I want to say over 20 years, right? Over
Yeah,
20 years with the US Army. Is
just
that, did I read that correctly in your
right around
bio?
21 years. Yeah.
Wow. So maybe you'd like to share some of the things that your experiences, some of the highlights that are still with you today.
I think one of the, to me, when I look back, and I started out with the 82nd Airborne Division, and I joined the Army ultimately to get the hell out of Arkansas and see the world. I knew I wasn't going to go to college. I wasn't ready to go to work. I needed to see the world. And I thought, the Army is a great place to do it. If I'm going to join the Army, I'm going to do what the commercials say. I'm going to fall out of airplanes and do fun stuff. I don't want to learn a skill. I just want to go play cowboys and Indians and have fun.
Mm.
And so that's the route I chose. And then after the first 3 years, I thought, I'm getting older. I should probably do something. I'd gotten married. I had a child, and I thought I should do something different. Um, and I was going to get out. My first sergeant talked to me and said, "Why are you getting out?" I said, "Because I've done everything I want to do. I've accomplished that. I think I'm ready to go start." He goes, "Well, what are you going to do?" I said, "I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I've done this." He said, "If you don't know what you're going to do next, why quit doing what you're doing? You're good at it. You have a career ahead of you. It's just 20 years. It's not that long, and you're going to be barely hitting 40 when you retire." And I said, "Well, you got a good point, but I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the op tempo." Ultimately, and if anybody's been in the 82nd Airborne Division, the bullshit factor is amazing. If you can put up with that, you can put up with almost any place. The pointless bullshit is phenomenal. So it made it capable for me to put up with about anything. So that was my thought process. It wasn't that thing that I want to be a Green Beret and a crazy killer. I just want to be part of something that has tradition. There's tradition here. There's history here. This is an honorable profession that has no correlation to anything I've ever done, seen, or planned to do with my life. It was just something different and unique to learn from and then move on. And it didn't turn out that way. First sergeant said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I'm going to change my job. I want to do something different, or I'm getting out." And he said, "Well, go see retention." So I went to see him, and they had a job called Aero Scout Observer, which was like a field artillery spotter that as a listed guy, gets to fly around in a helicopter and, bring ordnance onto targets. And I thought, that's pretty cool. So I said, "I'll take that." And I go back, and first sergeant said, "What do you got?" I said, "I'm going to be Aero Scout Observer." And he said, "Horse shit." He said, "You are really good at what you do. You're not going to do that. You're going to hate it. It's not going to happen. You're going to go to Berlin." And I said, "I don't what?" He said, "You're going to go to Berlin." I was in Berlin. I love Berlin. It's going to be great. I said, "I don't want to go to Berlin." He said, "Listen, man, it's a parade unit. They don't go anywhere. They don't do anything. You're 5.5 feet tall. You're never going to be in any of the parades because you're too damn short, because we only put the tall guys on parade."
Tell it like it is.
Man.
And I was like, "Hey, that's actually a great idea." And I talked to my wife and I said, "How about Germany?" She said, "Oh, that sounds fun." So a couple, 21-year-olds with a kid, we're going to go to Germany. What a great life. I get there, and as soon as I show up, I'm like the only airborne guy in the place. I go directly to the scouts, and I go directly on wall patrol. And then Desert Storm happens.
Oh,
There was no parades. It was going to the field every freaking day. Worse than 82nd. It was miserable. And I thought, "Oh, this kind of sucks."
You got
This
a different kind of Berlin.
Yeah, we were literally pulling armed guard in our own housing areas.
My gosh.
Because no one was happy that we were invading such a peaceful country. So anyway, that changed the nature of it. At the end of it, though, things settled down. It was beautiful. We loved it. I had an opportunity to go to the 5th Corps LURS, Long Range Surveillance Detachment. I was excited about that, but I was also offered going back to Arkansas to Fort Chaffee to be Op 4. Be one of the Army's bad guys to train the troops. And my passion really lied in training troops and making them better at their jobs. And I'm from Arkansas. We now had 2 kids. My parents hadn't met their grandkids yet. And my wife is from Arkansas. So we obviously went back to Arkansas. And so did a couple tours there. I was assigned I had a room in the barracks at Little Rock Air Force Base. I had a room in Fort Chaffee, but my family lived in Fort Polk, Louisiana, because that's where we're moving. So again, 3 strikes. I'm like, man, the Army is really bullshit. I'm getting tired of this. But now I'm almost halfway through my career, and I wound up getting sucked into recruiting. Thought I would hate it. Actually loved it because I was able to. It fell in line with my love of training and creating quality soldiers. I was able to bring quality in the door. I didn't care about the numbers. I cared about how good were you. Am I going to see you later? Because I want to see you later. I want to lead you. I want to see you grow. Am I going to send you to my buddies and you're going to get them killed? Hell no. I want good people. So I could have either struggled through it and hated it, or I could have, done my best. And I did my best, and I got to pick Alaska, which was ultimately the final goal. Alaska really was my final destination. I just didn't
You
realize
knew
it.
that was coming, right?
I knew it was coming. I knew if I
That's
succeeded
the
in returning,
same.
if
That's
I
the
could
same
make the
for a
Army
lot.
happy, the Army would make me happy. So I got to Alaska, and the rest is history. Stayed, was able to stay till retirement, and it's the best thing in the world I've ever done. I've raised 3 kids here, and I've got another one here, and they're doing great. So it's right. It was the right choice. I
Awesome.
never did anything cool though. I never got to do anything that people would write books and make a movie about or sit around and tell stories about.
I don't know. I've never been to Alaska, so for you to share what you have just shared about, ending up in Alaska, it's kind of like, wow, that sounds like a dream.
I think I could probably write a song about being in the Army and killing them soldiers as Op 4 in Arkansas. It sounds like something that might be kind of upbeat, kind of fun.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
I know
have a
you've
bit
written
of
a few songs. Are you sure you haven't written
maybe
one?
a bit of a running cadence, just for shits and gigs.
That's it, man. There you go. Now that was one of my favorite things. I did love cadence. I love
Oh
running
yeah.
cadence.
Let me ask you this, because you've talked about you actually had a passion for training, and that basically there's some skills here that you had to apply. Did they did the Army give you any kind of training to become a trainer, or is this
Oh
something?
yeah, there's skill identifiers and there's structural
No.
training.
No.
Can you
No,
talk
come
about
on,
that? Because I
Tom.
mean, here where I'm going to with this. Because first of all, it's kind of like this is the Army. They don't do they do that? I mean, from
Oh
some.
yeah, there's structure. Oh, there's
But
very
here's the
solid
thing:
structure for training.
is that obviously when you left and you had this idea of Alaska's Healing Hearts, you definitely needed to have some type of interpersonal skills developed before you jump into a venture like that. So can you talk a little bit about what you had to do to learn and to really fortify what it is these skills were about in order to feel confident enough to start this nonprofit?
So I literally I was a corporal at just under 2 years in the Army. So the corporal's a non-commissioned officer. So I spent 18 plus years out of 20 plus years as a non-commissioned officer. There is constant training and education and expectation of be, know, and do
Mm.
about your job. And there are there's just certain core competencies that are driven and driven and driven into you until you don't have to think about them anymore. Problem solving steps, the decision making process, how to write an operations order or a warning order or a change order. These things are all so ingrained that you don't even notice that you're learning them. It's almost like at some point in your life you forgot that, oh yeah, I had to sit down and learn my times tables when I was in elementary school. You just use it so much it becomes second nature. You don't think about the learning point. I did have the opportunity when I was up here in Alaska. I was a ground liaison officer to Pacific Air Force for 3 years. So I was master jump master, and I was so basically the command's master jump master. So my job was to communicate and coordinate, contract, and then execute the missions that the Army and the Air Force did as joint training. So all the airborne operations, the air delivery operations, the air to ground to ground, austere airfield security. So I had to learn to speak Air Force in order to get them to understand what the Army was doing, and I had to interpret Air Force speak for the Army. So it helped me become more articulate. I had to do a lot of time briefing, general staff level, and working about 5 pay grades above myself and being able to get those people to trust and believe in me and have the confidence that I could execute the mission representing both of them. So that's when I first realized that this applies to everything in life.
Wow.
This will make sense everywhere. And so as I'm laying out the logistics plans and I'm not a guy that takes complaints well. If someone critiques or complaints, my first question is, what would you do? What would you do differently? What do you suggest? What's your plan? I know you think the potatoes taste like shit. What would you want to add? Tell me more about what you would like to see, and then let's see if we can find that happy medium that makes it work for all of us. So I've
That's
been
a
able
real
to parlay
skill,
those
by the
things.
way. That's a communication skill. It's active listening is what that's that it is. And that's a learned skill as well, too, rather than,
As much as I talk, you wouldn't think I'm a very passive listener. I'm
well, yeah, we still have another 45 minutes. We can keep going.
passion.
We'll figure
It's
it out.
passion. I think if I could describe most things, it's passion. There's passion for the mission that I have self projected. This is my mission now. Family, yes, but my mission is to continue to serve these warriors, these men and women, and their families who choose to do day in and day out what I'm no longer doing. Because they're doing it, I don't have to keep doing it. I'm constantly on the look to bring more volunteers in, to bring other men and women in who want to take on this type of role, because I'm not going to do this forever. But I want to inspire them. I want Devin to be able to go from broken and lost to doing what he's doing now. He's leading other people through whatever medium best fits him and making a difference. So if you look at what he's doing with the music, with the music and the round things that he's doing now, and the songwriting, and the continuing to grow and represent other veterans who are hurting and taking them into peacefulness,
Mhm.
that's what I want. That's what I want. I want that legacy of. I don't need him to remember me. I need him to remember the point. What's the phrase I heard one time? It's not about me, but it could be because of me.
Mhm.
Because everything that I get up to that point, I gave it to you. Do something with it. Um, we do a whole lot of developmental type engagement so that people can. I'll give you an example. I can think of at least 6 different 501c3 for-profit organizations around the country that started with us. That started from coming to an event and then learning from this and then going, hey, I'm heading back to Tennessee and I'd love to do something like this. Okay, man, here's the structure. Here's your 1023. Here's how you fill it out. These are the best answers to give. Here's plans, policy, and procedures manual. It's in a Word document. Find and replace. Put your name in there and pull ours out. Call me if you have troubles. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Networking. You're teaching him networking.
And networking. I don't want to be the Wounded Warrior Project. God bless those guys.
Yeah.
I want to see more organizations pop up. I want to see more Healing Hearts and Battle Dogs and Connect Vets and Operation Iron Warrior and all these different groups that are not just in Alaska but outside, caught the inspiration from us and then grew to their own potential. So I think that's, again, what are we supposed to be doing? Making the world a better place.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this. So obviously you provide individuals sometimes with comfort, with direction, with guidance. You're kind of like filling that void for them, pointing them in the right direction. How is it that you experienced, doing that, and feeling like, what, I know what I'm talking about? Did you yourself have to go through something that was challenging that you had to overcome and learn in order to empathize with those that you're giving that same type of advice to? And if so, maybe you could share a little bit of that with us.
I think, it's funny you brought it up. You're talking about writing a song about, Op 4 and taking things out. Getting to be a bad guy at a small level where you're
I
not
better
following.
write this down. I'm gonna,
So
someone's
we're
going to make a
recording it. It's
liar out of
okay.
me.
I'll
Yeah.
give you coffee.
Good, man, I'm serious.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You know the deal. You're not told how to shuck the corn. You're just told the end state. The commander's intent and what's the end state. To me, those are the most important 2 pieces of information I have. I need to know what do you want from me? What is your intent? And what do you want it to look like when it's done? Because you've already taught me and given me the tools and the procedures and the policies how to do that. I've got SOPs. Do you want me to follow them or do you want me to wing it? The beauty about that Op 4 piece is you're going out there to kick the out of your brothers and sisters, to make them stronger. You're not going out there to bragging rights because you're in advantage. You got 6 guys, maybe 30 guys going against anywhere from 30 to a freaking brigade. There's a certain point of pride in, as an Op 4, to take 6 guys and completely decimate an entire company. there's pride because you know you've trained your men well and they've executed the mission well. But there's also that heartbreak of, wow, 300 people couldn't beat 6 guys. This cannot be how we go to war. This cannot be what happens if we deploy. This can't be the thing. So you've got to teach them every nasty, dirty trick, every horrible thing that can happen to them. Ambush the chow supply, hit the main supply route, and simulate pissing in every canteen. Pissing in every water buffalo. I compromise, make them hungry, make them tired, make them just suck so bad that they get insanely mad and they fight like wild men. You got to take them past that comfort zone of we can beat anybody, because once a soldier gets his ass beat, he don't get it beat twice.
And that's the thing, man, because usually the people that they ask to come out and play Op 4 are people who are, who have the training, people who are experienced, and you get a group of like-minded people like that together, and they start going, hey, you remember that battle of like 300 years ago where they attacked the resources? Let's do that to these guys.
I'm telling you, it's funny. You watch movies, you watch. You look, Red Dawn. Red Dawn's a good example of, hey, here's a bunch of untrained, uneducated kids going, hey, we're not going to lose this. We can't give up the ground. Honestly, I love that more than anything, because at the end of it, when you sit down and do the after action reviews and you're talking to commanders, brigade level commanders, and they're like, how many people do you have? Well, I had 6 people in me, sir. No way. No, that's it. There's way, sir. How did you take out an entire aviation battalion? Well, those 30 horses that are always around there? Yeah, well, we spent the whole day quietly keeping those horses in one spot. And then once you guys go to sleep, and you got guards out, I'm chasing horses through your perimeter. They're hitting tripwires. You guys are starting a battle. You're having a big gunfight, and I'm sitting back watching it through the nods, laughing at you.
Organized chaos.
Yeah, and you guys literally just hammer each other because you didn't have a plan. You have SOPs, and you probably briefed that you were trained, but at the end of the day, you just demonstrated that you're not trained. You're not prepared. You don't have things in place that you thought you had. I'm not proud of that, but I'm happy that it happened, because you learned that you are not ready. You've got to be ready. And that's, to me, that always, and I'll take it back to recruiting again. It's crazy. I've now been retired since 06. I've gotten letters and invitations to retirement for freaking sergeant majors that I enlisted that were 17-year-old high school kids. I take a look back at my soldiers. I can't count the number of first sergeant and sergeant majors that I raised that were my soldiers that stayed in and made a difference. So for me, that's what gives me this motivation to want to keep caring for them after the fact. Hey, you're a superhero, man. What can I do to serve you, and how can I help you be that way in this community now? You're no longer in uniform. Let's get that beard on. Let's get the training. Let's get your kids in school. It blows my mind the number of kids that the people that I enlisted that I have now helped their kids enlist.
It's got to be a rewarding thing that, you see and believe in somebody so much. Just like you said, you're Christian. It's part of your core beliefs, and you want the best for people. And sometimes we see it even though they don't see it. And then now, they're getting out of the military, having a successful career, and they're talking with you, and you're like, see, this is, all kind of what happens just from believing in something.
Yeah, just I feel blessed to be able to identify potential in people and then help them realize that themselves, and then help them, I'm not going to walk point for you and take you to every land nav point, but I am going to stand near a tree and sort of glance at it and go,
Yeah.
You might want to shoot another azimuth there. You might want to look at that map again. You're kind of cold right now. I like that, because now they've led themselves into that choice. It's not because I told you to. It's because I showed you the way, gave you the tools, and then bumped you if you got outside the lines. But you're doing great. Learn from that. We just, our meeting here, we had a retired command sergeant major. She retired 19 days ago. And she introduced herself, first one of the group here. And when she was done, I said, just so you know, I walked right straight across your damn grass. How will that make you feel? She looked at her kind of funny. Said, get used to that, because nobody gives a shit anymore.
Yeah, shortcut to extra duty. No one gives a shit anymore.
No one gives a shit anymore. You're not a command sergeant major anymore. You're just Lisa. and I love you.
Oh
You're in the
man.
family. No more rank. It's just us. Just those girls. Let's just have a good time and do things better for other people. Let's use that experience and that position that she had to make something different, as opposed to, I was a damn command sergeant major. How come I have to go through this job interview? Cause
Because I had to.
That's
we
how
all
it
do.
works now.
No one cares anymore.
James, what was so as we get closer to you starting up Alaska's Healing Heart, can you talk a little bit about the transition out of the Army and
So,
what that was? What was that like
so
for you?
strange story. At 17 years, I got selected for E8, and I had orders to go back to Fort Bragg. Um, Absolutely was not going to go back to Fort Bragg. And once you're in the twilight, every time you pick up a rocker, it includes a school and a commitment. Um, so it's usually going to be a couple of 3 years. If you select for 9 and then Sergeant Major's Academy, then then it becomes, you go from being an indefinite to almost indentured servitude. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
At 17 years, I got the orders, and I spoke to my first line supervisor, and I said, I'm not going to accept this. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'm not going to accept the promotion. I don't have time in service requirement. I don't have time on station. I don't have a bonus. I don't owe anybody anything. Um, I have no obligation to the Army. My ID card says indefinite. And they said, well, that means you stay as long as we need you. I said, I think it's a two-way definition. And I called up branch, my infantry branch, and I said, hey, and he was a friend of mine. I said, man, I want to get out. He goes, I don't think you can. I said, well, let me talk to somebody who thinks I can. So eventually I get to talk to a civilian, like this GS 1 million civilian guy who's a retiree. And he goes, what do you want? I said, I want to stay in Alaska. He said, I don't have any positions at all, and there's nothing I can do for you there. I said, that's bullshit, but that's fine. I'm going to get out. He goes, okay. I just need a request for action and a leave request. And when do you want to get out? I said, I got 45 days leave. I'd like to start tomorrow. And he said, sure enough, just get it signed and get it to me. Well, now I had to go through the colonel. My first line supervisor was a GS like 15, was a civilian, because I was a ground liaison officer of the Air Force at the time.
Mhm.
So I had to go through the civilian directorate, who was like, well, if that's what you want, do what you got to do, man, whatever you think. Well, then I go to the U.S. Army Alaska Command Sergeant Major, who I worked directly for as an NCO, and he said, nope, you're not getting out. I'm like, no, Sergeant Major, I've been through this. You didn't give a shit about my career last week, but now that I'm leaving, you do. What's the most important thing to you, me or the job? Because I got a dozen guys who can do this job amazingly, and you know them as well. So he said, okay. He said, that's what you think you got to do. Did you talk to your wife? And I was like, Sergeant Major, I've done all of this. I'm not leaving. I'm not going back to Bragg. I promised my kids, you start high school, you finish high school. That's where we're going to do this. Went to see the colonel, and the colonel said, I don't know, what do you want? And I said, I want to get out. He goes, okay, simple enough. Thank you for your service. What are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. The reserve center's across the road. I'll go talk to them after we leave, after he let me leave. So he signed off on everything, and I went across to the reserve center, and I said, hey, senior E7 infantryman, and I know this is a combat engineer unit. And they said, well, are you willing to go to training? I said, to be what? And they said, to be a combat engineer. Would you go to training? I said, yeah, I don't care. Sure. So they gave me a paragraph and a line number. I went back, submitted my paperwork, and I literally, the next day, I started to clear and turn everything in so I could leave. So it all finished, and I got everything completed. Took my 30 days leave, grew my 30-day beard, shaved, went to my first drill at the reserve unit, and the first sergeant there said, I was afraid you weren't going to show up. And I said, I didn't have drill till now. I'm here. He said, well, I'm glad you're here because I'm retiring. So he handed me the keys to his office as his government card. I said, okay, well, now you're the senior NCO around here. Enjoy that. Which was great, but they started to piecemeal us. It wasn't like the whole unit would deploy. So you got to think about this. I had just gotten out in 2001, and 9/11 happens 90 days later. I thought, okay, here we go. We're going to go. And we didn't. They started pulling my people. They would take an operator here, and he would be assigned to the company out of Guam. And then this would be assigned to the one out of American Samoa. And then this would be it, because those units weren't flushed up with trained individuals. So they were taking my people. Well, now I'm down to
literally your people.
literally taking my unit. My company was just
you
getting piecemeal
established a
to death.
relationship with and trained and so on.
And I was like, man, we're trained to fight together, to work together, and go together. And they said, well, that's not really how we're going to have to operate this. We need this person to fill the slot. So I was really disenfranchised with that. And I went and had a long talk with the recruiting first sergeant. And I was like, do you not have anybody that can put bodies in this unit? Well, we only have one recruiter. And I started ripping him a new one. And so we're kind of yelling at each other. He said, do you think you can do a better job? I said, I guarantee I can do a better job. And so we kind of had it out. And the irony of it is, while I was in recruiting and how I got assigned to Alaska, is I was the top recruiter in Central United States. And there's certain awards that you earn in recruiting, like rings and all kinds of shit. And anyway, I had all that stuff, but I had a meritorious service medal that I pulled it out of my recruiter file, handed to him. Well, the back was signed by the commanding general that said, if he ever wants to come after recruiting, definitely hire this guy.
Nice.
The guy who signed it happened to be the president of the Board of Regents in Fairbanks at the University of Alaska Fairbanks, because he had retired. So they called him. He called me. He goes, hey, you want to come back to recruiting? I said, I don't want to, but here's the situation. And he said, I'll endorse it. So they spoke, and I went back on recruiting for reserves. I did that for a couple years. And I was snatching guys out of the Army National Guard like crazy, getting them out of the Guard, putting them in the reserves, because they wanted to deploy, they wanted rank, they wanted training. So I'm pulling them. And so 20 rolls around, I get orders for 8 again, and I get orders to go to Hawaii. And I love Hawaii, but being in the Army in Hawaii sucks.
Yeah.
So,
Understandable.
and again, I promised the kids, you won't leave. You'll stay where you start. So I said, okay, I got 20. I'm going to get out. Well, my buddy at the National Guard, who was a recruiter, my competition, goes, hey, you want to come over here? And I said, why in the hell would I do that? He's like, dude, if you're here, you're not there, and you're not kicking our ass anymore. So they gave me a paragraph and line number to go frickin' run a company in Valdez that doesn't even have, there's no people there. So they gave me that. And then they said, hey, would you just mind coaching recruiting? So I started being a recruiter trainer. Well, all those guys that I'd pulled out of the Guard and put in the reserve had now got ranked. They had training and position. I pulled them out of the reserve and brought them back to the National Guard. So
you are a relationship builder, aren't you?
I spent my last 18 months, I don't know that I put on a uniform or touched a razor. My commander, the recruiting commander, was a helicopter pilot, and she didn't care what I did as long as the numbers were good. So life was pretty good, and just weird how all those things happened, because the Guard colonel that I took all the people from, who had to sign off on all the releases, and then I brought them back to him, wound up becoming the TAG. The TAG is the adjutant general for the state. So he's basically the state's Guard commander. He became the Guard commander as I retired, and I took over a program called what's called Hero to Hire. It was Hero to Hire. It was a DoD contract. But then I started working directly with him. So he and I to this day have a great relationship. It's just weird how everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, to have you where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to do. So I almost feel like Forrest Gump sometimes, like just around and find out what good things can come to you, as long as you have a good spirit about it, you know?
Yeah, man. Ain't no sense in worrying about what tomorrow's going to bring. Tomorrow's got enough worries of its own, you know? So, like,
if tomorrow comes, that'll be great. I got a rough idea of a plan, but if it doesn't come, it's probably going to be even better than I had planned. You know?
you may hear a hold my beer, watch this.
That's incredible, dude. I mean, it didn't sound like there was a whole lot of pressure that was placed on you. I mean, it sounds like that you had the freedom to make some decisions that were good all around. I mean, it's compared to some of the other stories that I've heard about the transition, you know, it's some of the most difficult times. And
transition is if you look at things that are dangerous to the American warrior, the enemy is ultimately ineffective against us compared to transition. Transition and loneliness are probably the two biggest killers of our American warriors. I'll be honest. I'm convinced that that's a fact. Transition first, because I don't care if you've been in for 2 years or 30 years, you're no longer who you were yesterday. And at first, there's that fun of freedom. Man, I'm going to grow my hair. I'm going to smoke weed. I'm going to sleep in. I'm not going to run a step. I'm going to grow a beard. I'm going to do what the fuck I want whenever I want. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. And about 30 days of that, you're like, man, I hate this life. This freedom sucks. I don't know how to execute. I don't know how to operate the tool of freedom. Secondly, I used to be important. My decisions mattered. People listened. I changed lives. Now nobody gives a shit. And that was sort of my joke with the sergeant major. I'll walk across your damn grass. You can't say shit to me about it.
Mm-hmm.
You remember, we'll go back to another movie. We were soldiers once. Remember Sam Elliott, Sergeant Major?
Yeah.
Morning, Sergeant Major. How do you know what kind of a morning it is? What are you, a fucking weatherman?
Sergeant Major. What are you, a fucking weatherman?
Exactly. So that's a running joke. And we all make the joke, Sergeant Major, what are you in charge of? Grass and cigarette butts. Okay. So that's a hard realization to hit. And again, I don't care if you were in for 3 years or 30 years, you have just fundamentally changed everything about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, it's even worse. And we all know somebody who probably still gets military haircuts, shaves every day, wears khaki pants, tucks in their freaking plaid shirt, buttons it to the neck, no tattoos, nothing. They are so military. 2 years after they retire, they die behind an insurance desk somewhere of stress. You know? So there's a fine balance between you are who you are, but you are the sum of your experiences. Where does that take you? Don't let it take you back to kicking doors in Fallujah. That was what you did. That's not who you are. Who do you want to be? I want to be a musician. Damn it, Devin, then learn some more chords and come back next weekend and play us a song. That's what matters. That's where we can change lives and save lives. I think that's it.
Well, I think that the stuff that Devin writes about stuff that honestly makes other people who've experienced, and even those who haven't experienced the things that he has, it makes him feel not stuck in that loneliness.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, that loneliness, man. It's a bad place to be, alone inside your own head. So,
and I mean, you ever watch someone who is sitting with their wife and kids and their friends and they're still lonely? Have you ever witnessed that? And you're like, man, that guy's not with us here. We're sitting around the fire.
Yeah,
he's not at this fire. I got to get him. I got to get him at the fire. I got to get him in the conversation.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing I do a lot. I do a shit ton of karaoke.
Yeah.
I used to
demonstrate right now.
No. But I used
to give us a sample of what you do.
I used to train my soldiers. With karaoke. I train recruiters with karaoke. I used to run a helicopter company after I retired. I trained them. I worked for the city of Wasilla. I trained my staff. I would make them go out and do karaoke together, because if you can do that, whether you can sing or can't sing, if you can get over yourself and over the pressure of that, then it's not going to be hard to give me a brief on Monday morning. It's not going to be a struggle when you go, oh, I fucked up. I got to go tell the boss. You know what? The boss and I were singing together last weekend. I can talk to him. He's a person.
Yeah. What are you nervous about? I heard you sing tequila.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, think about it.
With the dance.
You weren't scared to kick down a door.
Yeah.
In a foreign country against an armed combatant, but you're scared to take a microphone and sing a song that you know?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Let's beat this.
In a way, man, you got to mentally kick down that door. Like, hey, I'm going to do this.
Beat that fear. Nobody here is going to kill you and eat you. They're not feeding you and paying your bills. Who cares what they think? Do what you do. And at the end of it, we're all going to laugh and joke and clap. We're going to sing along. We're going to encourage you, or we're going to talk to you. But either way, it's because we love you. And now you're relaxed and you've done something uncomfortable and you didn't die from it. And you're like, man, that was a bonding experience. So it's just these little things, man. It can be quietly in a boat, casting a fishing rod and not talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've had conversations. I've had conversations that go from joking and laughing to getting into politics and you know the deal with the military. We are wildly inappropriate. I mean, it's just amazing the comfort factor that you have exposing yourself to other people. And once people get back in that mode, it helps, man. It makes a difference.
Is this kind of like, are we now venturing into the mission of Alaska's Healing Hearts? Is this, I mean,
Yeah.
what we're talking about right now? When did you realize, so you're now, you're out of the army. You've done
Yeah.
your time. You've
Yeah.
served our country. Thank you very much from the heart for
Uh,
our freedoms.
You're
Here's my
you're welcome,
question.
and it was an honor, I guess. How about that? That's well, sidebar for a second.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's hard to know how to take that. Um,
I've
some
seen
people
that as well.
you
The
don't know
night.
what to say because you don't want to say you're welcome, but you should
Mhm.
because that was a blessing. Thank you for your service is a blessing. It's a heartfelt blessing. And it's just weird to get that because you think about it in life, you don't get there's no points in the army. I go back and look at that 20 years where anybody looked at me and goes, "Hey, thank you for coming to work today." It's like, where the fuck are you? You're late, or why don't you have your? It's never a thank you for your service. It's thanks for joining us. Where were you? So
Walk into work late, like, I'm sorry I'm late. I didn't want to come.
yeah, that's I learned it from my cable guy
Right. And
many
I'll say,
moons ago.
yeah,
He thanked me for my service, and I said, "Why?"
yeah.
Just I was like, "I don't get why." He goes, "Well, because as long as there's people volunteering to serve, there's no draft, and I couldn't do it. I don't want to do it." And I thought
Well, there you go.
that's probably the best thank
There
you
you
I've
go.
ever heard. Was like, okay, thanks for
There you
putting in
go.
my cable because I didn't want to fuck it up.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
got a job. Good job, man.
And I'll say this is that in the veterans that I have taught to play guitar or have had in my workshops and the stories that they have shared of their sacrifice and the loss
Yeah.
and just how impactful serving was to them made me appreciate, not just saying thank you for your service, but really understanding what goes behind that. And I've seen some of your videos. I've heard some
You,
of your stories.
but you understand it. You're
Yeah.
not just saying
Oh,
thank you for doing a job.
the block.
You're
Yeah.
Yeah.
you understand
Blanket
what goes
statement.
into that job, and I
Yeah.
think it's hard sometimes, especially for younger guys, to they don't think you might understand. And it's tough. And I want to thank you for this because a lot of times folks who have never served, they feel compelled to apologize and make an excuse for why they didn't.
Hmm.
I don't give a shit. If we're all in uniform, who's making pizza? You know what I mean? We can't all do the same damn thing. We all have to find our path in life and follow that because otherwise we're just a communist country who's assigned our duties at birth, and that's how shit goes. We got to have that free will to choose what we want and to do that to the best of our ability and find pride in that and know that it's in some way serving someone. I don't give a shit what job you're doing in life. You're serving the greater good of mankind. Whether you know it or even want to be doing it, you can't go to work every day and not make the world a better place just by virtue and showed up for work. Does that make sense?
It
Yeah.
does. It absolutely does. And
But that goes to being proud of who you are and what you do and why you do it. If we can develop that in everyone, I think we're going to have a lot less conflict and a lot less self harm, self abuse.
there's a lot to be said about communication, to be able to speak about it comfortably and not have regrets. So no, I'm there with you, James. So let's move on to your organization, Alaska's Healing Hearts. The
Yep.
the motivation. I mean, so again, that interview that you did in 2013 with Senator Murkowski talked about some of the things at the very early start of what you started with Alaska's Healing Hearts, and then of course the video at the very start. What was going through your mind when it's like there's a real need for this?
So I was invited to be a part of this board because I just had a lot of community contacts and I guess communication skills and network. And it was a group of people that said, "Hey, you know what? We've got this concept, and this is what we want to do with it." And it was guides, and it was there was some like big name people. But the vision was, let's just go raise a bunch of money. Let's take some guys out for a good time, get a photo op, and give them away some free shit and make it fun.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, that's cool. What's my role in this? Well, you know everybody and you can communicate. Okay, I'll do that. Who's going to build a 501c3? Well, we're going to hire a lawyer and do this and that. And I said, bullshit, it's all online. Let's just do it. You know, even though online back then was not online today, the forms were there, the documents were there, the history was. So I just went through and figured the whole thing out, put it together, wrote the bylaws, put the stuff all together.
Now, this is what, did I read this correctly? Are you the founder? Are you
Yeah.
the founder? Okay.
Yeah.
So, all
So
right.
I'm co-founder in it.
You're okay. All right. And I thought I still read that somewhere.
No, I'm co-founder, original co-founder of, there was 5. I've since been through 28 board members.
Sounds like a band to me.
Yeah, it is much like a band,
I need a new drummer.
I'm the only, the last singer for the Eagles.
I need someone who could write, contracts.
That's it. And I don't need a harmonica player. Thanks for asking.
But 28 people, wow. And that,
but that's just
over what
natural
period
attrition.
of time, James?
Over the 16 years, because we started in 2010. Started to build.
It wasn't like the first year you had to go.
No, and it's not like it's like you're fired, you're fucking. It's just, there's always an internal conflict. But ultimately, what I found was the best thing to do with the board is not have a bunch of your friends. You need to just have a bunch of, what I tell people when they start boards now is I need you to find someone with a lot of money, find a doctor, find someone who sells insurance. Maybe if you can get a lawyer, that's great. And then a community coordinator, because you need to do all these things. I'm the administrator, secretary, and treasurer. So I do the administration, I do most of the fundraising, I do the planning, the execution, and sort of make the plan and say, okay, here's what we got to do. This is your piece. Let's do this and that. We'll handle this. Commander's intent and end state. Commander's intent, do all of this with the best of intentions, with selflessness and grace. End state is minimal loss of personnel and equipment, minimal damage, and with maximum 5-star ratings when it's over. When I say, hey, how was your outing? It was amazing, except the food was shit. Okay, we're going to fix the food. It was amazing, but the weather was shit. Okay, can't do that, but we can find a different time of the year maybe. So I really operate off of not approval, but what was your takeaway? What are you going to do with it? So again, there's the end state.
There's that AAR.
There's that AAR piece on it. What are we going to sustain? What are we going to, sustain, improve? You don't just go in and go, what sucked? What, here's some things you did a great job at, but here's where we need to work.
Yeah.
We need to work on actually getting up when the food's being served and don't show up at 10 o'clock and ask for breakfast. But no,
smile with your whole face, not just your eyes.
Yeah, that's it. But we did, we started out with 5 or 6 people, and for 5 or 6 people, I'd have 20 people out there logistically. Mm-hmm. I don't do that anymore. We do it now. We'll have our regular monthly warrior family retreats. I'll have 100 to 120 people out there, and I'm only have 4 people running the whole thing. Because now I recruit when they get there. I'll set up the archery range, and there'll be a dad that moseys over. Oh man, I love archery. Shit, tell me more. Well, I've got this and that. Oh man, you want to run the range this weekend? Oh man, yeah, hell yeah. He'll go recruit.
I'm hearing a word that they taught us in the Army. It starts with a D. Delegate.
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 But something. Here's stories I've told. I've had guys come to our event and they're like, man, there's nothing like this anywhere else that I've gone. I went on this big hunt in Texas. They pick me up at the airport with banners and flyers. They take me in this big jacked up limo. We go to this ranch and it's $1 million. I'm scared to even shit because the toilets are too nice. There's 50 people at every car dealership in town and every politician's here. And then we go out to the deer stand. It's got a microwave and a coffee table in it. And my deer's tied to a tree with an ear tag in it. And my gun's in a bench rest. All I have to do is look down the scope and squeeze the trigger. And then at the end of it, they take some pictures and I go home. I said, okay, do you feel like you benefited from that? I'm like, no, I felt like a marketing tool. You were, a meat puppet, just basically Vanna White. And I vowed very vehemently, never will I do that. If you're going to be a part of this, never going to be Vanna White. If I wanted to, I couldn't pull that off. But I have vowed to this day is if you come to be a part of our event, your ass is going to wash some dishes. Mm-hmm. You're going to touch a broom. You're going to help us make a bed. You're going to be a part of the whole process because that's what you're used to. Mm-hmm. You never woke up and got anything served to you while you were deployed. You never got it stateside. You never got it in your barracks room. Earn your keep because now you have an investment in this. There's sweat equity. And at the end of it, It's not, hey, I went on this cool thing back when I was in Alaska. It was, when I was in Alaska, we did this. They're a part of
Yeah.
it. We built that.
Yeah.
We painted
Get
that. See that? That was us. So
get in
that's
where you fit in, like pick up
yeah.
something, be a part of the team.
Oh yeah. When are we gonna have a fire? You guys ain't built one yet? Oh, I thought we were
Like,
having no.
when's
Go
the
build a damn
fire? When
fire.
you start it,
There's a fire pit and there's wood. What part of
So
where does it say no fires? Damn it.
so
Go
that
build one.
upbringing in the army, it's applied here as well too, is what it sounds like.
You give them their Tom Hanks moment.
That's it.
Fire!
That's it. That's it.
Oh,
Well, we've
this
got
is good to know.
we've got a lake, and I've got boats and kayaks and stand up paddle boards and paddle boats, and I've got these little cool inflatable bumper boats that have like a 1 horse motor on them. That it's like having a 50 cal butterfly trigger on a boat, and you're literally just running these boats around. Their bumper boats.
Yeah.
They love those. The minute people show up there, I have a map. There's a big map drawn. You are here. These are where the stations are. I don't put out a training schedule. There's 3 times I put out: breakfast, lunch, and supper. Everything else is go to this station and enjoy as long as you want. At no point do I want to say, everybody get out of the lake. We got to go paint rocks. Stop painting rocks. We got to go for a hike. That's not fun. That's a training event.
No, there are people who painted rocks in basic training as disciplinary issues. That's not fun.
Yeah, I got 2 playgrounds. There's like a 20 by 40 playground. It's you can have from your infants, up to whatever age you want. And it's age appropriate, and they play in the playgrounds. Right next to that, I've got like a little barn with chickens and goats, and they can feed and pet those all day long. I don't worry about them. There's the lake and the boathouse with a big beach, and the parents. If your kid's in the water, your ass better be on the beach. Period. That's your obligation. You're responsible for your child. The minute I see a loose kid, they're going to come work for me. And then when you come looking for your kid panicked and find them working, they're going to be pissed at you. So you better be responsible for your child. Remember the old days? What were you guaranteed? Forced fun, controlled free time, simulated sleep.
Yeah.
They'll stay up all night long. God, Friday night they get there and they'll be up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Saturday breakfast ends at 9 o'clock. I don't give a shit how tired and hungover you are. If you didn't make it, you don't eat. Lunch goes out. Yeah. The lunch window's open. I ring the bell. Food gets served. You eat or you don't eat. I keep licky chewies and things out for the kids all day long. Yeah. But it's kind of like going to a rec camp without any bullshit and pressure. Well, you're familiar with the Bellows, right? You go to Bellows Air Force Base on Hawaii. All the same people, all veterans, all military, but none of us know each other. So you don't really consort. You just sort of casually be present with other people, but you're not interacting. The rec camp in Seward here in Alaska, same thing. You're going to drop $175 a night. You're going to eat every meal out. You're going to spend a shitload of money. You're going to be around a whole bunch of like-minded people, and you're probably not going to talk to them. With us, you got your own cabin. You got a parking space. You got 3 meals a day. You don't pay a damn thing. You got 4-wheelers, snow machines, boats, archery, you name it, horseshoes, just whatever you want to do. We got things to do.
Sign me up.
But there's no timeline. There's no timeline. You can do it whenever you feel like it and put it all away when you're done. But we're all going to eat together in the chow hall at the same time. And sometimes, I'll say, okay, let's feed the kids first. They've been playing hard. And sometimes I'll say, you know what? Where's all the wives? The wives, you guys have been putting up with our bullshit all week or all day. Let's feed the wives first. Let's feed the moms. Or you know what? How come dad always, who eats first at your house, kids? And well, dad does. Okay, well, fuck you, dad. Dad, you're doing dishes. You eat last.
Yeah.
But I'm making a point too, brother, is you think back to the old days. Everybody's five meters apart, taking a knee behind a tree to go get a wet plate of chow. Who eats last? First sergeant commander eat last.
Yep. Leaders eat last.
It's a battle. By the last meal, it's a battle to be the last guy in line. Because they all take on that role of like, oh, I want to see my family fed and everyone else's family fed first. And I get to the end and it is all the higher ranking guys. I'm like, you can do what you want. I'm still eating last. Well, you got to eat, man. I'm like, I eat all day, but I'm still eating last because that's the standard. Yeah. But it gets them back. So I try to blend it. I try to blend that military comfort with that. And by doing things, there's times that I'll say, I want all the kids over here right now. All right, mom and dad, you got 2 hours. There's the four-wheelers. There's the lake. There's your cabin. I don't care what you do, but I don't want to see you guys for 2 hours. Go have fun. And we'll take the kids to do projects and hikes and things that are fun. And mom and dad get some decompression time. But I get time with the kids, and I get to ask the kids, so what's like at your house? Does your dad say squared away? Uh-huh. Does your dad knife hand you? Uh-huh. Do you know what parade dress? Yeah. If I say tighten up your shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my
So I see these kids have this commonality, but maybe they don't realize that. They don't realize, oh, your dad's an asshole too. Oh, your mom yells too. So it gives them a comfort factor. It makes them feel like my life is normal. This is good.
Yeah.
So when I'm in the chow hall and things are getting out of hand and I stomp the floor, everyone knows to just shut up. Oh, or if I say, okay, at this time it's not mandatory, but you might want to be here. They know that instruction step.
What's the Army term? Behoove.
Behoove you.
It would behoove you.
But we do a lot of that stuff. I intentionally infuse that in there. I'm able to tell too from the spouses and the kids how much the warrior and I apologize to the warrior sisters that are following along too, but the numbers and the norms are the norms. You can see by the family's reactions to things you say and do how much that warrior brings home. It's important that a warrior brings some of those norms home because they can't be one guy or gal at work and then another guy at the house. It's impossible. You can't. Duality is impossible to sustain without conflict internally. So they need to bring some of that military stuff into the home, but they also need to learn what not to bring into the home. I'm guilty of treating my older kids like I treated my soldiers. Fix your shit, this, get squared away. Damn it, I told you that, all the language, all the attitude, and all the demands without the lovingness of it. We all struggle. We all do that. And I see it every day. I see dads getting super strict and I'll pull them aside. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What do you mean? I'm like, I'm not telling you how to dad, but if I got 20 kids running with sticks, why in the hell can you tell your kid he can't have a stick? I want him to hit somebody. Well, fucking teach him not to hit somebody.
Hey, guess what? They all have sticks. They're going to swing back.
Yeah. He's going to learn how to operate that stick. Well, he don't need to run with the stick. Teach him not to run with the pointy end toward his face, man. Teach him how to carry it at port arms. I catch dads. Get your shoes on. Why the fuck did I put 40 yards of sand out here for you to tell your kid to put his shoes on? Let him be a kid. Because you're going to go 8 later when I put him through a camouflage cast. Because I'm going to give him a camouflage stick.
Dude, it reminds me, when I was a kid, man, my mom got me a shirt and it said, runs with scissors. She let me be a kid, man.
Nice. That's it. You got to do that, man. So as we impart these things into them, and they don't realize they're doing it a lot of times, they're so worried about their kid. And one of the things I'll usually tell them is your kid bothers you more than he's bothering anybody else here because you're so damn self-conscious. If you want your kid to represent you well, then raise them that way. If they act stupid, I'll let you know. And I'm not going to get mad at you. If your kid comes to you and say, Mr. James knife-handed me and called me a peckerhead and made me sit in the corner or made me do push-ups, true story, mom and dad, it happened. Kids, you with me? And they're like, yes, Mr. James. I'm like, excellent. Who wants to get smoked? I do. Oh, let's go. Dad, you want to go smoke these kids? And we do. Sometimes we'll go out and we'll worm pit them just like airborne school. We'll smoke them just for shits and grins. But it's just the bonds that builds, man. For your kid to go through what you went through, and even if they're 10, 11 years old, 6 years, I don't care. For them to go through that, there's a bond that's built there. You know what I mean? It opens up the communication. It's just...
I mean, you think, father, son. I mean, there's always going to be that, when it comes to a father and a son, the son kind of looking at dad, sizing him up. Like,
yep.
I could take him. And he's like, yeah, how about we get out there and do some cannon cockers for, an hour, see what you think then.
Is this the day? But that's, it's funny. My son's 11 years old. We've got a Nerf arsenal. If him and my wife leave the house, they're going to the thrift shop and they're going to come back with 10 more Nerf guns. Thousands and thousands of darts all over that 80 acres is covered with darts. But sometimes the families get there and they don't even make it into the lodge. Mom and dad comes in. I'm like, I know I just saw you pull up with a minivan. There was at least 6 kids got out there. Like, oh yeah. As soon as I got out there, other kids gave them guns. They picked up teams and they're out there having Nerf wars already.
Man.
I could just have a kids Nerf war camp and not even worry about
Yeah.
anything else. So it works. I'm just trying to do things that families do normally,
Mhm.
and it's working. It's working. It's not a. I'm not a fan, and I say I'm not a fan because I've done it both ways. If you take a warrior away from their family to treat them to something, yes, that's great. You've done something good, but you've also penalized their family, and you didn't. I can't take you out on a fun event and say, okay, take this back home and give it to your family. Because if you're already not talking to them, you're not going to share that with them either. The families need to be a part of this. But from this large group I'm netting 120 people, those 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 that need special treatment, I've got partners in this game. We've got Battle Dogs. I've got Connect Vets. I've got other organizations that we've created. You specialize in mental well-being modalities. You take them hunting, you take them fishing, you take them on an introspective trip, you take it on a music retreat. Now I can dole these folks out, and I've already vetted them. I can tell you, hey, listen, Tom, I want to send this guy to you. He wants to play the music, wants to play guitar so badly, but he is tone deaf as hell. That's your first battle. He has no rhythm, but you know that. Get him a ukulele and just keep it simple for him.
I just need more cowbell,
More cowbell.
That's it, man. Oh, so
But
I'm saying that when you first started this, you've obviously seen the program evolve, and you're starting to identify the needs of
Yes, sir.
those who come to you for help. Is that? And it's that it's working, right? But
I feel like it's working.
so when do you come into individuals who are just completely real? I don't understand. I don't know what they want. Do you ever come into that where they just shut down and they're not saying a whole lot? And how do you figure that out? And
I I've had them, and it's usually there's one in an event. In each of those big events, there's usually one in there who's just like never really engages. Because when I've got 100 plus people, I can't get down in the one-on-ones for very long. There's some times I hang, and they're eating, and I go from table to table. I'm putting hands on people. I'm talking to the kids. I'm teasing the kids. I'm complimenting and spinning.
Sure.
They're doing that politician kind of bull. I mean it. I
Camp
mean it
counselor.
wholeheartedly. But it's very sincere. I'm heartbroken if I don't get a chance. If someone leaves camp and I didn't get to get a couple minutes with them, I'll call them or email them and go, hey, I'm sorry we didn't get time together. If you want to come back up sometime, let's get a hang and let's things good time. But there's usually one or two that are just so inside themselves, and usually I'll find someone else and say, hey, can you go spend a little time with them and see what makes them click? Because it doesn't take long in a controlled environment to get to learn a little bit about people. And I'll try to. It could be the clothes they wear. It could be how they wear the clothes they're wearing. It could be the vehicle. It could be the type of hat. It could be the tattoos. Could be so many little clues about people. You go, you know what? I bet these two people will talk. Let me put them together. And then I'll get the report at the end of it, and I'll say, you know what? If you want to invite them to do something else, maybe just 3 or 4 of us can get together and do this. So I'm able to refine those needs, because there are, it's military. There's going to be a lot of special ed kids in here, for lack of a better term. There's going to be some crayon eaters. So you just kind of go, you know what? Relax.
Yeah.
Why are you
man.
standing at parade rest to talk to me right now? We both have beards. Chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Just chill.
Oh,
It's just learning people and reading people, and the biggest thing wrong with people is how people respond to things that they've been caused to do in their life. I mean, I can't boil it down anymore. The only thing wrong with me the only things that are wrong with me are things that I don't process well that have happened to me, mostly self-induced in my life. So I feel like I can recognize that in other people and say, you know what, this isn't your battle rattle. You're not all fucked up over combat deployments. You're all fucked up because you feel guilty because you suck at being a dad. I suck at being a dad, but I'm getting better.
I think the thing is we all kind of suck at being what we're supposed to be,
Yeah.
But that it goes back to what you said. you remain teachable and coachable, and you allow, yourself the grace to learn, to grow.
It is. It
So
is. It is absolutely okay to be not okay,
yeah,
and you got to be okay saying you're not okay. You got to, I mean, think about it. Each of us have had someone in our lives that looked at us and said, "What's wrong?" Number one answer on the board, 100 people surveyed, nothing,
yeah.
nothing.
Hey, you've heard that a few times. Yeah.
What's wrong? Nothing. Okay, well, you can
I
walk away
mean,
and accept that. Or you can say bullshit. What's
I think
wrong?
that I think in kind of some of the stuff I've seen, I think that some people will actually, they'll not be okay mentally. They'll kind of be, in the ropes of life about, something. But instead of just being alone and feeling that way, they're like, well, I still feel this way, but I would much rather have people around me. So
That's
they
if
get out and they're real quiet, you
it's
know. Um, that's a delicate moment, you know.
it's good to be. I got a couple. One of the things that we do is I just call get in the truck. Just get in the truck. What are we doing? I don't know. Just
Like the
get in the fucking
country
truck.
song,
Yeah, yeah.
like the country song, get in the truck.
We got some sketchy shit to do, but let's do it together. It's okay to be broke, but be broke with some other broke people. Sit around and be miserable together. It's better than being miserable alone. Eventually, somebody's going to break. You know what I mean? It's you look at these guys and gals now that in single troops living in the barracks. They'll sit with a wall between them and they'll play first person shooter games and Mario Kart all night long, but they won't ever see each other. I do a lot of work with the chaplains program up here with the True North chaplains, and he's mostly dealing single airmen, single soldiers. Brings them out. They're in the same unit together and don't even know each other. Because one's in commo and one's in refuel or something, the
Yeah,
Air Force side. So trying to get them to go. Well, you guys are bored. What do you? Oh, I love to go four wheeling. What about? Oh, I love to go four wheeling. You have a four wheeler? No. Well, I do. I got 8 or 9 of them. What the fuck you guys do on the weekend? We mostly just play shooter. That. Let's go four wheeling next weekend. Come up. I'll have beer. We'll go four wheeling. Oh, and by the way, we're going to do some repairs on the shed while you're here too. Outstanding, Mr. James. Let's do that. That's it's Tom Sawyer, man. We've all read Tom Sawyer. Eventually you're going to pay me to paint the fence and do my job,
yeah.
Mhm. Mm.
but you're going to learn from it. You're going to be happy from it. You have a memory from it and a story. So those are the things that I'm learning every day. What I get stuff presented right now, this Operation Winter Warrior program, there's 147 patrons. That's senior veterans that are high risk. They need snow removed. They need firewood, propane, heating oil, appropriate winter clothing. Maybe their homes fixed up a little bit. Um, I got a team of 10 different emergency response team operators now. They have an area responsibility. When it snows, they know what to do. I don't give them orders. Commander's intent, in state. Commander's intent, do what's got to be done in state. Nobody dies on our watch unless it's natural causes. No one freezes to death. Um, but we keep the snow out of the way so they can get their healthcare program managers to come in and out. Meals on Wheels come in and out. Emergency response can get there if they need to. They can get out to appointments, even if they're not driving. Um, those type of things don't really have anything to do with thank you for your service. It's not an earned benefit, but that's the tribe taking care of the tribe. I've got warriors that are hoping it snows so they can go take care of their people. That's their mission. So now we've gone from serving these younger warriors who are capable. They get to serve because none of them, I haven't heard any of them use the word have to. Do we have to plow? It's
Get
like, when do
to.
we get to plow? When do we get to take wood out? When do we, I don't know, talk to them. What do they need? Well, I haven't seen them in 2 weeks. Well, go take their ass for a cup of coffee. I don't care. That's your people. Lead your people. So we're developing these leaders to serve their elders. They're going to develop their kids. Most of them come out with their kids. When we do wood processing party, we might process 8 or 10 cord of wood. They'll come out with their families. They'll come out when their parents are up visiting from the lower 48, and they've got 3 generations out there splitting, chopping, and cutting, and stacking wood to give to someone else. It's 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 humbling just to watch those type of things happen. So
Are the things that you're talking about right now, is this built into the society of Alaskans? I mean, of the community itself? Do
a,
they?
a lot,
This is
honestly, yeah.
it's It sounds, yeah.
You don't you
heartwarming.
break down on the side of the road, someone's probably going to stop and help you in Alaska.
Yeah.
It's because we're rural. Resources are far, few and far between in a lot of cases. And we are. I mean, you've heard the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon
Yeah.
game. Alaska's at like 3 or 4.
Oh.
If you know somebody in Alaska with about 3 or 4 connections, you're going to connect to someone else and go, wait a minute, you guys both know this. You did that. Do you know this? Yeah. Shit. How small is that? It's just
Yeah.
it's amazing. And well, us, the Alaska connection, and the people we know, and Devin, and like you said, there seems to be this blossoming of, oh, and you know, and you know. I mean, there's another guy I'm going to introduce to you, Jesse James, that I'm not sure if Devin or anybody else has mentioned yet, but he's another musician up here.
I know him.
He's leading the musical program
You
now.
would know him, yeah.
See?
I know him.
So
We'll have him on the show.
Big lurch.
he is.
That tall country boy.
You think I could be dynamic? He can definitely be dynamic. So
He kind of towers over you, kind of like a Trace Atkins. We got a little deeper voice, and it's like, "Hey, Jesse, you just calm down. Hey,
you settle your big ass down, buddy. You sit down when you talk to me.
In the face.
You sit down when you talk to me.
We're gonna have them give a performance for us from your place there, James.
Well, what we might
hook
do,
them up
we
and
might-
let's do a. We'll have to.
You probably heard of Scooter Brown band, right? So Scott comes up here. I'm hosting them again this year. And then Bobby, his drummer, is retired Air Force operator type guy. Anyway, they're going to be coming up here again this summer, and we're going to do like some small concert series stuff with them. And I'm going to incorporate all of our Alaskan singer songwriter military guys and gals. So that might be a kind of cool closed loop to bring it back together.
That is awesome.
We have to tap into that somehow because I know a couple of musicians up there. Man, of course you do too. But
Yeah, I sure do.
now that we know James,
so my wife runs the beverage for the Alaska State Fair, which is pretty. Everybody that drinks beer comes through the sluice box, and all the musicians locally and travel all come through the place too. And she and I have run a few. We've run a few bars and houses of ill repute over the years since I retired, so we kind of know about all the musicians.
Oh, the Alaska State Fair.
Well, this is good. This is good to know. Keep us posted on that information. We'll help you kind of send people your way.
Based off the feedback you get from the podcast, if there's areas of specific interest that people would like to know more about Alaska and what we're doing veteran-wise, we can do some. Some on-site type stuff, or I don't mind doing some point of view stuff with people out there and go, hey, you want to do some side interview here while there's action going, just little vignettes.
Alaska seems to be on our radar in the next few weeks, so
just little vignettes, just like TV shows, a lot of these reality shows now, you've got the show content, and then you've got like the talent within the shows. Like, hey, just give me a 2-minute walk and talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we are today, and you're not going to see this on the show, but this is what's happening. We can kind of do some of the teaser type stuff if we want. And
that's like up there at Hatcher Pass where they do the parasailing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine, you're up there talking, kind of just going over the scenery, talking about that little body of water up there, and the mountains, and then you're like, oh yeah, check this out, and then you got a parasailer coming through, just super cool stuff.
We've got the Go Seek program. Which is just outdoor adventures. It's basically, if you're going to do nothing, do it with other people.
Hey, I got a couple more questions for you, my friend, and then we can go ahead and bring things to a close. But first of all, it's just great talking to you. Yeah,
this has been awesome.
I am looking forward to talking with you more frequently if you're able to. I know you're a busy guy.
Sure.
Maybe you can tell us some of the biggest challenges in sustaining your program itself. You've been doing it for a few years now. You've got some great events. You've got obviously a team of people who support what you're doing. But maybe you can talk about some of the things that seem to hover over you, and the biggest challenges, so to speak.
It won't be what probably most folks think it would be. It's not money. I make the joke that when people say, "What do you do for fundraisers?" I go to the post office because of things like this. We've got to tell the story. Other people tell the story. Hey, I'm going to give money to someone who needs it. Let's give it to them because they are prime purveyors of this.
And this is it due to sponsorships that it's kind of like it's been a blessing to get.
It's mostly the individuals, folks like, hey, here's $50, here's $100, here's $10. Fundraisers, we have fundraisers, but I don't do fundraisers.
Mm.
We had a fundraiser last Friday. A friend of mine was like, hey, I'm going to raffle off a motorcycle and give you the proceeds. And the biker club's going to do a big prime rib feed. The money's yours.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Why? Well, because they've had friends that went through it and it's changed their lives and they want to support what you're doing. Great. This weekend, there's a chili cook-off. Another motorcycle club's like, hey, we're going to do some fundraising for them too. Well, now I got the motorcycle clubs competing to do fundraisers for us. That's fine.
That's
That is
nice.
perfectly fine. I love that.
Yeah.
But if I came down to, if Granny Smith has $10 to give somebody, I'm going to want her to give it either to an elderly program or an at-risk children's program before she gives it to us. Because those are the three things that people most emotionally attached to: veterans, elderly, and children.
Mm-hmm.
Who's more capable of taking care of themselves? Warriors will figure it out. We'll take care of each other, but the elderly don't and can't, and kids can't. So I am really more inclined to want to see those folks see funding. If I need something specific, I can chase a grant. I can identify a grant for it. I can make those things happen. Enough time to. We served over 2,500 guests last year. And that's unique. That's not Tom 5 times in 5 months. That's 2,500 unique visitors.
Wow.
Our numbers are probably 3,500 if I counted everybody every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Those numbers are amazing, but there's only 4 weekends in a month, and there's only about 4 months in the summer. So we're packing this summer full. My wife and I, we laugh about it. It's 72 hours of laundry once everyone leaves, because there's 110 beds. It's 72 hours of stripping beds, washing them, and resetting beds every weekend.
Do you have volunteer help to do that, or is this you?
We do. I have some volunteer help, but it's mostly just she and I, because everyone volunteers on the setup, but nobody stays for the cleanup and the breakdown.
Funny how that is.
Well, I've got this policy when someone goes, hey, I want to come help you at your event. Great. So the event starts at 6. Yep. When do you want me there? 9. What? I don't need you till 9. Because I'm going to have 100 people to put tablecloths and do all this shit. But at 9 o'clock, when they're ready to go, we're hauling the trash, we're sweeping and mopping. I need you to sweep and mop. I want you, if you're going to come, you're going to run the dishwasher. Well, I like to cook. Nope. My wife does the cooking. We don't mess with that. If she lets you cook, that's between y'all, but you're coming to wash dishes. Focus on that. But honestly, the biggest challenge I face is just needing more time in a year to execute the tasks that we do.
You are pretty much bound to the weather, right? I mean,
We're
obviously.
very bound to the weather.
And the hours of the day of sunlight.
Sun, summertime, it's all day long. In the wintertime, it's 4 hours. So there's challenges there. Maintenance is a tough one. I think I've got 12 snow machines and 6 or 8 side-by-sides, 4-wheelers, and 4 boats and tractors and things. Shit breaks constantly because people are using it as if they owned it. And I want them to do that. I want them to enjoy it, but it gets broken. Then I got to maintain it. So for me, maintenance is sort of a challenge. So it's not the things that you would think of. You wouldn't think, well, you need more money and more help. No, I just need more time to do more shit. So
that makes sense. Yeah. Why does the term rugged individualist come to mind when I think of you and you're telling me these stories about having to repair things and, everything in the outdoors? It's like, I got to be the one to do this.
I suck at getting help, man. If someone's going to help me, I'm going to give them the task and I'm going to leave. Otherwise, I'm going to stand over their shoulder, or I'm going to do it for them, or tell them how to do it. So for me, it's better to say, if you're going to volunteer, I need you to handle this, and I'm not going to dig into what you're doing.
Yeah. Sounds like you care.
I do care, but man, my wife and I are both very bad about, can I help you with that? No, I got it. I probably shouldn't do that. So back to the big D, back to the big delegate.
Delegate, brother.
When you get to that level in leadership, right, you have to delegate. It's like, I loved that service part of all of us that wants to get in there, get dirty and help. Somehow we got to let go because we got other things we got to get to, other priorities, right?
Well, I'll tell you what I do have learned to understand over, not just recently, but, when you first come in the military, and if you ever work around command and staff where you've got commanders and, they're writing the order and their plan. So the commander pulls everybody in and says, okay, here's a situation mission. Here's the execution. Everybody go take your piece, your piece, your piece. Go write the plan, go write the operations order. And then we'll meet back at this hour and put it together. And then they go to sleep. And my first thought was, well, why is the commander in charge? We're all digging foxholes and stretching wire and doing that. This son of a bitch is asleep. Well, when the fight starts, he needs to be well rested and well clear thinking.
Yeah.
I don't need him behind me in this fox. But when you're young, you don't get that.
Yeah.
The more I do this, the more I realize I'm getting better at going, you know what? I need all these things to be done and I'm going to disappear. I'm not going to go sleep, but I'm going to do something that I desperately need to get done that has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to worry about I'm going to come back and I'm going to try like hell not to go, I really wanted you to paint left to right, not right to left. Because I am retentive as hell when it's down to,
You know that the prioritization of tasks that you're talking about, you know what else it comes in handy for? Parenting. Ain't it funny how that works?
That's
kind
weird.
of like all your life, it's kind of like you're being taught how to do certain things a certain way to apply it as a parent. That one I can definitely speak to. Let's talk about goals. What is there anything that you've got before you and your organization, your team, your support staff, and all goals for Alaska's Healing Hearts over maybe the coming year or maybe the years ahead that you
continue to grow. I mean, we started with staying in tents and then renting places, and now we have our own really major, beautiful properties. Programs, transitional training, help people come out of the uniform and go into the civilian world successfully, seamlessly, and without any loss of income or lifestyle or anything. The ability to just convert. That costs money because that's training. It's hard just to walk out of a military job into a technical skill or skill trades. You got to have licenses, certifications, experience. Those things I've done in the past, wildly successful. I'm talking 70 guys 6 months earlier were in uniform. 6 months later, they're building an oil rig on the North Slope. That's the type of impact I want to have because that impacts families, that impacts communities, that impacts our state, that impacts the nation because we're able to refine our oil. We can keep prices affordable as a country. So to me, that's the small level that has huge global effect. I'd like to be able to do more of that. I'd like to be able to. We're starting to focus this summer. We're doing a kids focus camp, a military kids type focus, because I'm starting to see struggles with kids at school. Because I've got a 38-year-old, a 36-year-old, and a 30-year-old child, not child, but kids, and I have an 11-year-old. This is not the same as it was with the first three. The world's not the same. They're socially losing a lot of those skills that I think are what has made me successful in life as an adult. They're not getting that there. Close enough is good enough. You can get the wrong answer as long as you tried really hard and showed the math to get the wrong answer. There's no value in justifying failure at any task in the world. Because people will work hard to justify failure when it's probably easier just to do the damn thing right and win. So I want to focus a little bit more on the kids, and it's not because the parents aren't teaching them, but kids learn more sometimes from somebody else's dad than they do from their own.
Yeah.
I've had people say things to me that my dad said before, and I'm like, damn, he was right. I should have listened to him, but now I had to hear it from you. I'll go back and do that again. So I want to focus a little bit more on helping these kids be at peace with the weirdness of the world. Hey, you don't have to be gay just because someone says you can. You can if you want to. But you don't have to conform. You don't have to like video games just because that's what everybody else is doing. If you like playing outside, let's play outside. Or it's okay to like video. I just want kids to be a little bit more okay with themselves and feel less judged and be able to, because you don't see kids today coming together in groups like they used to do.
There's not really a sense for that boldness for them to just be who they are.
There's not there's not a little Rascals Club anymore. There's not a He-Man and Woman-Haters Club. There's not that sort of mentality anymore. They're just doing their own thing. I think I would like to do a little bit more. I'd like to do a little bit more with with music just because I absolutely love music and it's such a big part of our life. And there's very few people that don't enjoy it. There's just,
It's truly
you know what I mean?
moving in a
Go
lot
back,
of
go
personal
back to our
ways.
beginnings. What did we do? We sat around the fire, we ate, we talked stories, we painted on the cave wall, and we beat things together to make sounds. You know what I mean? It's a primal thing. It's a primal, peaceful thing, I think, as
Yeah.
humans.
When people
I
discover the impact that music has on one's soul, that's the light bulb moment, right? All right, I'm going to ask you one last question here, and this
Okay?
is the kind of, for those who don't know about Alaska's Healing Hearts, maybe because, for a veteran who is, they want to do it, but they're kind of like quiet to themselves, and they're not really ready to make the step to come to you. But how do you what's the message to them that they need to?
So, again, it's kind of back. If you're going to do nothing, come hang with us and do nothing. Don't, there's no timeline, there's no expectation, there's no testing, there's no screening, there's no requirement that you sit down and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. If that happens, amazing. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if you're going to just sit there and do nothing, come sit in the room with all of us and do nothing quietly. I'm not going to bug you. Just hang. Just come hang. If you don't like it, you don't have to be here. It's again, it's like, taste it. Just taste the Brussels sprouts. Maybe you went to a different Brussels sprout purveyor and didn't like it. Try these Brussels sprouts. Maybe you've been through another organization's program that separated you out and demanded that you speak to people and demanded that you learn to paint and demanded that you meditate. There's no demands with us. It's just come be among the other warriors in the tribe and find your place. And if you don't find your place, tell me what kind of place you like. Hell, maybe we've got it and I haven't told you about it. We'll build it. We'll find it. Um, I've had people that absolutely hate being outdoors. They still find peace hanging out with us, and they don't go outdoors. They eat the meals, they'll watch TV, they'll play video games, they'll do art projects, and they just don't go hang out outdoors. It's not a mandatory thing. So, um, find the challenge I have. Here's the thing: I can't bring anybody to Alaska. The cost for me to bring someone up here, I could put on an entire weekend for 120 people for what it costs me to fly one person up here. So I just can't do that. But if someone's in Alaska, even if I don't have an event going on, I can make something happen. I got plenty of people I can call and go, hey, are you at the lake this weekend? Yep. Okay, well, I'm going to send someone up there. Take the boats, take them to the cabins. You guys go have a good time. Food at the lodges, I've got a tab at the lodge. Food and drinks are on us. Just go show them a fine time. And it's no pressure. It's not like I got to perform in front of 70 other people. It's just, being comfortable with someone they've just met. So, um, yeah, I think the big thing is I don't do a lot of things. I don't like to go out. I don't like to meet new people. I'm an absolute introverted social butterfly. But I force myself to do it, and I accidentally have fun every time. And I see the same thing among these warriors. If 80 adults in the room, kids are outside playing. 80 adults. Why did you come here? My wife signed us up. Exactly. You'd rather be home watching TV, ignoring your wife and kids, right? Yeah. They all laugh about it uncomfortably, but the truth is, they didn't leave their foxhole where they were happy. They get here and they're like, "Shit, man, I had a good time. I didn't, I didn't expect to have a good time. I've gone to these events before and they kind of sucked. This was awesome. No pressure. How can I help you? Well, I got to change the oil on the tractor this afternoon. Once you guys leave, I'll stay. Good. That's what I'm looking for. Is I know you didn't want to be here, but are you glad that you came?
Yeah. Turns
So
out
that's
being something that you needed.
Yeah. I mean, Devin, I've never seen somebody so uncomfortable and dislocated as the first time I met him. You talk turd in the punch bowl, brother. He and his wife, they were so uncomfortable. And he felt like he didn't fit in, felt like he didn't belong. And he just sat back and listened and watched a couple of hours before he finally said, "Can I break out my guitar?" And then he just sat by himself
Step,
and just
too.
played his guitar.
Big step. Yeah.
But it was the first step. And then once
It was
a
permission
couple of
for
us
him
went
to
over
be
and sat
Devin.
with him,
Yeah.
yeah, permission to be me. A few of us went over and hung with him, and Started to change. I didn't see him for a while, and then he would show up again. And I didn't see him, and then he'd show up again. Then he would call and go, hey, I got a question. And I don't understand this, or I need it. I'm not sure about this, or what do we do? And, just watching him go through the evolution of just addiction to pain, addicted to the misery. He still dabbles in it because you can hear it in his songs, but he dabbles in it because he knows that by sharing it, someone else gets a taste of it and goes, yeah, I know that feeling, man. You said it yourself. They're pulled in. They see that vision. They're like, yep, but he's okay.
Yeah.
So if he's made it, I can make it. If I can
If
do
it was
this, I can do
possible for him, it's possible for
Yeah.
me. So
And if I can do this, then I can do other things. So yeah, it's just a message of positivity, man. It's all that shitty stuff that you didn't kill you. This sure as hell ain't gonna kill you. So just jump in and do it. Let's see how it goes.
yeah.
So great talking to you, and then just
Oh man,
showing
this
us your vision of helping and healing, and the skills that you've accumulated to make that reality for yourself, for those around you, and those who you support. It's this refreshing to hear, James.
it's this was such a blessing to get to do this. It probably doesn't seem like it, but I'm never comfortable doing this. But it just sort of takes over and runs. But for me, you're doing for me what I feel like we get to do does for other people. It gives you an outlet to make change. And I hope that this sort of inspires someone to go, shit, if he can do that, I can build one. I'll just call this guy. I don't want someone to call me from this and go, hey, I want to give you money. Or hey, I want to come to Alaska. I want someone to call me from this episode and go, I'm down in Ohio and I was really wanting to start my own group. Can you help? Hell yeah. Give me your email, brother. I'm going to send you the packet. And then call me and I'll go line by line how to start this. That's what I want. I want it to grow. I want more people. I don't want less people in my shit. I want more people in our shit doing what we do.
All right. I want to go through your bio because I didn't have a chance to read it at the top, and you tell me if it's still true or not, because you, my friend, have such accumulated experience that not only do you talk the talk, but you walk the walk, and it's very clear to me why that is. You are the co-founder of Alaska's Healing Hearts. You're a
Yep.
retired U.S. Army veteran with over 20 years of global service in
Yeah.
diverse roles, including airborne infantryman, combat engineer, Air Force liaison officer, and recruiter. You've held positions such as employment transition coordinator for the Defense Department, a recreation director for Wasilla, president of the Matsu Valley Veterans Council, GM of Evergreen Helicopters, operator of Matsu Resort, and VP of Greater Wasilla Chamber of Commerce. Talk about this man who really knows what he's talking about because he's lived it. Wow. Oh, also, an experienced guide, safety coordinator, and wait a second,
TV
location
personality.
scout for various Alaska-based TV productions, equipping him with support, to your Healing Hearts, well-being, focus-driven outreach, and the total
That's
warrior
I'm
support.
I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, it's all true statements.
That's
It's all
all.
public info. So
You've been a man on the go, and you've obviously set goals for yourself that you've wanted to achieve. What
have
an
you
honor
ever,
to talk to you, my friend.
when I went to work for Evergreen,
Uh,
my resume went to Mr. Del Smith, who owned the international company. And he read that, looked at it, and said, how old are you? I said, I'm 41. He goes, how in the hell? Because your resume looked like this at 41. I said, I have really bad ADHD, man. He's like, okay. So,
what an answer! Wow.
but my running joke is like when I do guest speaking and stuff like that, then I give them the brief resume. And I always laugh. It's like, man, it looks like I can't keep a job because I just,
Well, the one you're doing right now speaks volumes. And
Well, I appreciate you guys.
the people who you've touched, I can tell it's made such a difference. And also, we didn't even talk about the BYU TV special and just how much insight that documentary gives on the work that you do and your team and building the property up to a point
Oh.
where it's like it's become, more attractive for others to come out.
We're
Is
kind of
everything
working on
still
it.
standing there, by the way, like the dock in the
Oh,
lake?
we built a chapel 3 years ago. We built a
Oh,
sauna and a bathhouse last summer. We built a bridge.
yeah.
We built a kitchen. We built. I've got Gold Star families that come up each year.
Oh,
They come up and we take on a build project. So for
oh, wow.
each of their service members that they've lost, we've built a memorial structure for them.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of want to do. I've talked to Bud with BYU, and we kind of want to do a revisit it. Where are they now?
Yeah. Yeah. How
Six
long
years,
ago
seven
was
years later,
that?
it's
How long?
2019.
Wow.
2019. So it's been
Really?
7 years. So I
Oh,
kind of want to revisit it. I've
yeah.
said, let's look at it 10 years later because that show, The Fixers, travels all over the world and does
Yeah.
builds. Ours is still the number one watched show episode,
Is it? It
and
was
it's the
really well
most
done.
responded to,
Yeah.
and one of the few that's still in operation. A lot of them, they stand them up and they just can't sustain them. So sustainment is the most. Anybody can build an organization. Sustainment is where the challenge gets, growth and
Exactly.
evolving and managing. But
Uh-huh.
um, I wouldn't mind showcasing that more because, again, the reason I agreed to do that was that would inspire someone to do the same thing. Hey, I've got 20 acres in Tennessee. I should build a cabin and we will have fun there. That's what I want in life. I want to inspire more people to do what we're doing so we can serve more people. So if we could use that way, I'll talk to Bud too. I'm pretty sure I'll copyright on that. Bud's going to say, yeah, if you need to pull some snippets, if you want to take a piece and throw it in and go, hey, here was a part that emotionally hit you at that, like the Warriors talking circle. Um,
Yeah.
Everybody broke down. Well,
Yeah.
that was crazy because he was like,
Even
man,
the
Mike,
even the Fixers team,
yeah,
right?
he said
They
my
were
builders don't
they
break
were
down and they're crying.
oh,
I was like,
oh
excellent.
wow. There's
So,
something special about that circle. I mean, really, it was the circle, right? It was like the
yep,
new enclosure, and everyone was.
the Warriors talking circle. We were just sitting around a bunch of burning scrap lumber and talking about what we do and why we do it, and it just kicked their ass. They're like, wow, we travel all over the world and we take care of disadvantaged countries and people and abused, and nothing's emotionally struck us like this. So there's
See,
impact to it.
see what you've done.
That's it. Damn it.
Yes. Yes. I'm
Like my
glad
mom
that.
always says,
Yeah.
what the hell's wrong with you, boy?
What did you do? What did you do
Damn
this
wrong.
time? What
What did
trouble
you
did you get yourself?
what did you do? Well, thank you guys.
Thank you for your service, really, for all that you do, not only, for what you've done for our veterans and, their families and all, but for being a guest on our program tonight to talk about Alaska's Healing Hearts. The work that you do obviously matters. It really does. And the stories that you're sharing, can't wait to share these with our Hero Stock Nation listeners as well. So Matt and I will be back with some final thoughts after we take this break. You're listening to The Roundtable, where Heroes Talk, a Hero Stock Nation podcast.
I put that bottle down again today. I'm under attack. Can't drink away those demons, cause they keep coming back. A rifle in the sand, boots there on the ground. Trying but I'm crying as they laid my body down. Not half the man I used to be. Take a pill, I don't seem sad to people passing by. Are you okay? They ask, I lie. Try to hide my face. I feel so out of place, cause I'm home. Why me? So many better fathers died upon those streets. So many better husbands never made it home. Their wives are all alone. Those who made it back were left to wonder, oh, why me? Put that pressure dressing on, try to stop the bleed. Don't you close your eyes, buddy, try to breathe. Cause there's no guarantee if you leave. I believe I'll ask why me. Have you ever had to keep your head down just to stay alive? Have you ever hugged the mother of a brother who just died? Another fallen soldier didn't make it to the end. If it wasn't for my kids, I'd swear I'd follow you, my friend. Seems like every other week, the other hero that I knew didn't make it, couldn't take it. The shit we had to do, memories of violence suffering in silence. Now I'm done. Why me? So many better fathers died upon those streets. So many better husbands never made it home. Their wives are all alone. Those who made it back are left to wonder, oh, why me? Put that pressure dressing on, try to stop the bleed. Don't you close your eyes, buddy, try to breathe. 'Cause there's no guarantee if you leave. Oh, I believe I'll ask why me. So many better fathers died upon those streets. So many better husbands never made it home. Their wives are all alone. And those who made it back were left to wonder, oh, why me? Put that pressure dressing on, try to stop the bleed. Buddy, don't you close your eyes and try to breathe. 'Cause there's no guarantee if you leave.
Hey, Matt, do you have any closing comments?
I think back to what Tom had mentioned after we had interviewed Devin, and Devin mentioned you, James. And one of the first things that Tom said to me was like, hey, maybe you know him. And I was like, Alaska's pretty big, man. Alaska's pretty big. So, I mean, I didn't know anything about you prior to doing this. I'd heard a little, from Devin, and man, I can't tell you, it's awesome just to be sitting where I am today and getting to hear these stories and how they impact other people who really, need to have that impact in their lives. And I'm so happy to be a part of something bigger than myself. So, James, thanks you for coming on the show and giving us. We're looking like 2 hours or more of your time, man. You're a busy man.
Who's counting? Yeah,
That's-
time. But
That's
it's
it.
time well spent for sure.
They make 24 of them every day, man. We'll find a place to use them.
To our listeners, if this conversation resonated with you, we encourage you to learn more and support the missions that strengthen the veterans and, of course, the first responder community. James, where can we find more information about
Everything's going to be at alaskashealinghearts.com. It's a pretty feeble website. It's a mandatory website. Your best bet is probably going to be social media. So if you type in Alaska's Healing Hearts or AHH, you will find our organization. You'll find AHH Go Seek, Island of Hope and Healing, Hardwater Warriors, or the Alaska Healing Hearts Warrior Lodge. Any of our entities will all fall up underneath that. And do something. Do good, and then do better. And at the end of the day, I think the most important thing you do is support your local warriors. Love to have your support here in Alaska, but everyone watching this, you're within 5 miles of a warrior who needs you. Go find them, help them out. You will not be disappointed by that at all.
All right. You're listening to The Round Table, where heroes talk, a Hero Stock Nation podcast.